Hey guys, welcome back for week 8 of ACT prep. This is our last video. I can't believe it's our last video. I know, I can't believe it. So after Thursday, that'll be the last time we meet, and hopefully you guys will do good on Tuesday, okay? But you guys have been practicing a bunch. We took another mock test yesterday, so the scores were not as high this time. However, it was a harder test, I felt like. Did you guys agree? Yeah. So we're going to go over some of those problems now, and then I'll go over the additional ones when we're in class, when I'm in class with some of you. This was actually, even though it's a Venn diagram and should be relatively, I don't want to say simple, but it should be something that everybody can answer. There was a good percentage of students who still missed this one, so I did want to go over this one and let's talk about it, okay? So it says, at a college track meet, there are 3 jumping events: the high jump, the long jump, and the triple jump. The Venn diagram below shows the distribution of the number of athletes competing in each jumping event. How many athletes are competing in both the high jump and the triple jump, but not the long jump? Okay, so let's get rid of the long jump completely. Okay, so we'll just color all this in. Okay, got all those numbers covered up, right? Those are all people competing in the long jump, and this person is not competing in the long jump, okay? Now, of these, the 5, what are those people competing in?
High jump.
Just the high jump. That 5 is just people competing in the high jump, but we need them to compete in the high jump and the triple jump, okay? So that's gone. The 2, what are they competing in? Just the triple, okay? That circle is just triple, so that would be gone. So how many people are competing in the 2 but not the long jump? Just 3 people, okay? Does that make more sense now? Yeah, so that would be 3, okay? So
I thought it was asking for like adding the people to the high jump and the triple jump.
oh no,
As in that way.
yeah, so it's actually a way that you can eliminate like people that are doing other events, and let's get rid of that. That's why I colored out that whole long jump, because none of those. But then did it help you guys for me to tell you that those were just kids? These 5 right here were just kids competing in the high jump? Yeah. So those are what those circles mean. This circle right here is all high jump, but when it overlaps with another one, then they're doing multiple events, okay? Any questions about that? You guys feel pretty good about it now?
If it were to ask us to like add the 2, how would it like ask us?
Do you remember on the other ACT test, there is another one similar to this, and there are 3 numbers in 3 different circles where you do have to add those up. So it was the cows and the sheep, right? I think you need to look at those 2 so that you can compare them, but the cow and the sheep, I think that one says how many farms don't raise cows. So that's why we colored in that whole cow circle, and then we added up everything else, because that would be that case, okay? This one is a little bit different. It's very exclusive. It's just these people who are competing in just those 2 events and no other events. So it's only 3 people, okay? Okay, let's go ahead and go on to next one. I'm not going to do all of these. I'm just doing really the ones that I feel like we struggled with a little bit. Actually, I'm going to do 3. Okay, I'm going to do 3 just because we did have some questions about like what product meant. Do you guys remember which operation that is?
Multiplication.
Multiplication, okay? So it says, given that B is 40 and C is negative 16, B plus C, so we're going to do that first. So B plus C, so 40 plus negative 16, okay, it's 24. Okay. Then it says that is equal to the product of negative 4 and what number? First of all, if this is negative and I need my answer to end up being positive, what am I going to multiply it by? A negative number, okay? So I can automatically get rid of these 2 because I know it's got to be negative. Negative 14 times 4 would be way too big, so it's going to be negative 6 times negative 4. Okay, there was a few people who missed that, but does that make sense, y'all? Any questions about that? That was kind of an easier one. Okay. All right. I do want to do number 4 and number 5, okay? Because we actually had several people that really kind of struggled with this. I'm going to turn this off for a second, y'all. Okay, sorry, back on camera. Okay, so it takes Colin 24 minutes to walk to school in the morning. What fraction of his 24-hour day is spent walking to school in the morning? So first of all, I've got 24 minutes and 24 hours. I have 2 different units, so I need to convert that so that the units match, okay? So I'm going to take the 24-hour day, so 24 hours in one day, right? Okay, so I need to go from hours to minutes. Since hours is on top, we're going to put hours on the bottom. So 1 hour is 60 minutes. Okay, I have minutes, and that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so now all I'm going to do is multiply 24 by 60, which gets me the 1,440 minutes. Okay, and it's asking me, what is the fraction of time spent walking? So he walks 24 minutes, and in a whole day, there's 1,440 minutes. So it's 24 over 1,440. And if you type that into your calculator in the fraction button, it'll reduce it for you, and you'll find your answer. Because that answer isn't sitting there. So we're going to need to find the actual reduced fraction. What did y'all get? 1/60th. Okay. Did that make sense? Okay. How many of you are in chemistry? None of you? Okay. Did you guys take chemistry? You did. Okay. Did you use conversions in chemistry?
A lot.
All the time. Yeah. This is a very important skill, you guys. Even like, I use these still. There'll be times when I have to convert at home and I'll use this because I know how to do it, right? There's probably another way somebody does it in their head if they're not sure how to do it. But like since I know how to do it and I learned it in chemistry, I use it. It's very important. So it's a good skill. Number 5, we had a ton of people miss this one. This one scares me because this is a pretty simple question. So it says a certain triangle. Okay, so I'm going to draw a triangle. Doesn't matter what it looks like, okay? Just a triangle. How many angles are in every triangle? 3. It tells me my angle measurements are 6x, 2x, and x. Okay, so 6x, 2x, and x. And then how many degrees is in every triangle? 180, okay? So we would just plop this in our numeric solver. So 6x plus 2x plus x equals 180. Okay? So you just put that in your numeric solver and it's going to tell you what x is, okay? What'd y'all get? 20, good. Okay, but there is going to be stuff on here about triangles. There will be. Triangles, 4-sided figures, and circles. So we need to make sure we're understanding, like if it gives you 3 angles, put them in the 3 angles, set it equal to 180 and figure out what your answer is, okay? But that's a pretty basic geometry problem. Okay. I'm going to go over 7 one more time. I did this one with y'all last week, but I want to do it again, okay? Because there was several people that did not do very well on this one. So it says for circle O, okay? And that's just what you call it because that's the center, circle O. Shown A, B, C, and D are on circle O. And what that means is they lay on the outside of the circle. A and B are as far apart as possible, okay? So as far apart as possible, that's your diameter, or 180 degrees. Okay, that's as far apart as you can possibly get on a circle is 180 degrees. So then it says C is halfway between A and B. So if A and B is 180 and C is halfway, what kind of an angle did I just make? A 90-degree angle. Okay, so that's 90 degrees right there. Then it says D is halfway between C and B. So if that's a 90-degree angle and this is halfway, what is this angle?
45.
45, okay? So it says, what percent of the area enclosed by circle O is enclosed by OC and OD? Okay, if that one's 45, this one's 45. I should have written that one. And minor arc CD. So all you need to do is put the 45 degrees on top or in the numerator, and then 360 degrees in the denominator. So go ahead and put that in your calculator. It's going to give you a decimal, and then what do we multiply decimals by to get a percent? 100, yeah. What'd you get?
12.5.
What?
12.5.
Oh, 12.5. I thought you said 4.5. I'm like, wait a minute. That's not right. Yeah, 12.5, okay? So did that make sense, you guys? Did I explain it better this time a little bit, maybe? Or maybe we've just seen it enough. Okay, any other questions about this guy? Nope. Okay. All right. We've got 3 more, okay? All right, I want to do 11 with you. Actually, let me move that down just a little bit. I'll have to be up on my tippy toes. Okay, so I showed you guys in the hallway when we first started doing this problem how to do it if you didn't know how to set up the equation, okay? I want to show you today how to set up the equation because they're actually pretty easy if you can kind of think about how to set up the equation. Then you would go to your apps key, to PolySmelt 2, and the simultaneous equation solver and figure out where they intersect, okay? That's what we're going to do. So it says Bryce owns an apartment building. He charges $325 for a 1-bedroom. He charges $410 for a 2-bedroom. Bryce charged a total of $4,905 in rent. And there was 13 apartments. Okay, so when we go to that app key and we solve the simultaneous equation, we have an X and a Y normally, right? 2 unknowns, 2 equations when we're trying to do this. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give the X, because it says per behind it, okay? So we're going to give the X to 325. So 325X plus, and then we're going to give the Y to the 410. So 410Y equals the total amount in rent, $4,905. Okay, that's our first equation. But I just want to point out a couple of things so that you know what to put together. 325, 410, and 4,905 are all dollar amounts. That's why they're in the same equation together, okay? My next equation is going to be the number of apartments. So what was my total number of apartments? 13. So I'm just going to say X plus Y is going to be 13. So this is the number of the apartments. The other equation has all the costs in it, okay? And all we do is we put this in that app key in the PolySmelt 2 app, simultaneous equation solver. It's already in standard form when you write it out like that, so you can just type it in exactly the way it's listed, and it's going to tell you your intersection point. It's going to give you your X and your Y. When you find that, tell me what your X and Y are. X is 5. What was your Y? 8. Okay. So 5 plus 8 is 13. That's our total number of apartments, okay? It was asking about 1-bedroom apartments, which we called our X, so our answer is 5. Okay. Would you guys like me to do that again? Or do you feel good about it?
Like, after we got the X and Y, why was it 5 again?
So it gives you your intersection point, okay, between these 2 equations that makes it true. So I can have 5 1-bedroom apartments and 8 2-bedroom apartments, and that's the only combination that works because that's the intersection point.
And then the question asked for the 1 bedroom.
Yeah, it asked for the 1 bedroom. That's why I picked the 5, not the 8. Yeah. Notice the 8 is sitting there though, right? So they think you could make that mistake. So just be careful. Okay. Okay. Any other questions about this one? No? All right. 2 more, y'all. 15 and 16. Actually, can I ask y'all about 12? How'd you feel about 12? Not good about it?
Well, I do.
Okay, this one's actually real easy. Let's do it real quick, okay? So this says a restaurant surveyed its customers to determine whether or not they like hamburgers and whether or not they like turkey burgers. The table shows the results of the survey. So it says to the nearest 1%, what percent of customers who responded to the survey, okay, like hamburgers. So customers who responded, how many is that? 312, that's your denominator, the bottom number, okay? And then it says like hamburgers. How many people like hamburgers? Ooh, okay, now hold on. That's like turkey burgers, and this does not like turkey burgers, but if you look at the top, it says like hamburgers. We want to use this number, 195, okay? So 195 will be our numerator. Okay, you're gonna put that in your calculator. You're gonna get a decimal, but we're looking for a percent, so we're gonna multiply by 100, okay? What'd you get?
62.5.
62.5, so within 1 would be 63, okay? I have told you guys before, I do struggle with these two, so just do the best you can. You're looking for the 2 things it's telling you to look for, so like that's why I underlined customers who responded and got the 312, and then like hamburgers was right there, okay? If it only gives you 1, the second number you're looking for is the total number of respondents, okay? Another problem like this was the black trucks. Do you remember that from the other test? Yeah. Okay. Let's do 15 just real quick. It's kind of big, so. Okay. Guys, this is asking for the amplitude. The amplitude. The amplitude is this right here. Just this right there, okay? So if I look over to the side, to me that looks about 1/2, 1/3, something like that, and I have both answers. But the amplitude is also sitting in your problem. Right there, okay? So this is 1/2. Okay, this is just a problem you need to be able to look at and understand what amplitude actually means. It is not this. Please don't think it's this whole part right there, okay? That is not correct. It is just that little bit right there, okay? Or this little bit right here. Or this little bit right there. That's the amplitude, not that whole thing, okay? But that is 1/2 no matter how you're looking at it, okay? Everybody got that one? Okay, last one.
Like the whole way.
You know, I'm sure it has a name, but I'm not even sure what it is. I'm sorry. Wish I could answer that for you. I will look it up and I will let you know though, because I'm sure it has something too, and they may ask us that. So I'll look that up and I'll let you know. Okay, and then we're going to talk about 16. If you have your playbook, you guys, and you can do this in class if you don't have it right now, this is a formula you have to write down. Okay, you need to know the formula for a circle. You got to know it because they're going to ask you a question about it, okay? Whether it is the circle question here or whether it's the ellipse and hyperbola question that was at the very end. I mean, those are all kind of similar and you need to know this equation, okay? So for a circle, that equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals your radius squared, okay? The h and the k, that is the center of your circle. Okay, that's always your center. If your center is at 0, 0, you won't have an h and k, okay? It'll just say x squared plus y squared. Okay, so let's read this question. It says, a circle in the standard xy coordinate plane has its center at 3, -4, and passes through 0, 0. which of the following is an equation for that circle? So what I would do for this one is I would start just writing your equation based on the center they gave you, and then we can figure out the radius later, okay? So let's write the equation. So this would be x, and I'm gonna look, it's positive, so it is gonna be -3. Okay, remember it's always the opposite sign. Okay, plus y. It says -4, so it needs to be +4 squared. Move this out of the way. Equals, okay? Now, I will tell you that we would need to do a distance formula to figure out how far away the center is from a point that the circle passes through, but we don't even have to do that. Can you guys see the right answer right now before we even find the radius? Don't spend the time doing a distance problem that you don't need to do, okay? Start writing the equation, check out what you have. G is the only one that can work. This says +3, +3, and this one is starting at 0, 0. Okay, so the only option would be G, and we don't even need to find the radius, okay? So that would be the most right answer. Okay, how do y'all feel about that? Pretty good? Okay, so listen, yeah.
Can you put 13?
Yeah, 13, sure. Okay, so 13, I would actually use my app for this one, okay? So in your PolySmelt app, so apps, PolySmelt 2, and then this would be your root finder. Okay, roots are where the graph crosses the x-axis. They're called roots, zeros, factors. That's where it crosses the x-axis, okay? So what you would want to do is you would just try your answers. So you would do, because they want to know, what do I need to have for n? So let's try that one first. So go ahead and type that into your app and see which factors it gives you, or which zeros it gives you. But for this particular type of problem, I would just try each of my answers in the form, or in the equation in that root finder, okay?
Okay, it's A.
It's A, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, but that's really the best way to do it. It's the fastest way. That probably took you 12 seconds, you know, not super long. Hey, you guys, anywhere from 1 to 18, is there any other ones that you feel like I need to go over with you? Go ahead and look through there real quick and just see if there's any other ones that you feel like we need to talk about. Do you have one that you want me to do? Number 10? Yeah, definitely. Okay. So this is actually one I feel like everybody should be able to get right, but I also see why lots of people end up missing it. So here's how I would do this, okay? I would write my first information that's in that first set of brackets without the brackets, okay? So write it down again. So 6x plus 3y. Okay, and then I'm going to write down each next term separately. So this minus has to go to each term inside the next set of parentheses. So since this y is positive inside, I have to give it the negative. So it's going to be minus y. I have to give that negative to the minus 2x or negative 2x. So it's going to end up being positive. So a positive 2x. That's where people are going to make their mistake, is right there. Because you have to make sure you give that negative or minus sign to the y and to that next term, okay? So, do you got a question?
Can you just put this in the y equals?
You can, but you're trying to combine like terms. This is different than the one you're thinking of. You're thinking of when it covers it. So these aren't factors. When you put your factors in your equation, it'll cover it up. That's what you're thinking of. This is more where you need to just combine stuff, okay? So look, I'm going to look for anything with an x. So I've got 6x and 2x. So 6 plus 2 would be 8x. And then I'm gonna do anything with a y. Okay, so 3y minus 1y would be 2y. And that is going to be my answer right there, okay? So 8x plus 2y, this would be j. But please be careful, this minus sign has to be given to that y and to that negative 2x. So those signs are gonna change. Yeah. Yeah, what, is there any other problems that y'all need me to do? Okay, hey, hang tight one, I'm done, okay? Okay, no other problems, right? Okay, all right, so guys, this is our last video. Please make sure you're practicing. We have 5 days until we take the ACT, okay? So 5 days to get a good score. I would say this is cram time right now. So every single day, you should be pulling out your calculator, pulling out your any of the documents that you have, and practice problems. Read them. Even if you think you know the answer to them, read it. Put it in your calculator, practice it 100% of the way through, okay? If there's anything that you have questions about, come see me. I will help you with those, okay, before you actually take your test on Tuesday. For all of you out there that have calculators checked out to you, you need to make sure those are charged and that you bring them with you on Tuesday, because you will not have a calculator if you forget yours, okay? You already have one checked out to you. So please make sure you're practicing with those and that you bring them with you on test day, okay? Also, don't forget, you gotta have an ID that day too. ID, and if you don't, it's okay. Like, the person hopefully that's in your room will recognize you, or we'll find someone that does, okay? But if you have an ID, bring it. Make sure that you have your calculator, and then we'll give you pencils, okay?
School ID?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it just has to be something that has your name on it, and we just need to be able to recognize you, okay? Okay. It's just so that nobody takes the test in your place, right? we want this. You guys are going to do so well. We want these scores to count, so we have to make sure we follow all the rules, okay? All right. Guys, this has been fun. I really hope it's helped you guys, and I hope that come May we get those scores that we want, okay? All right. Good seeing you.